Hi folks, I'm Chris. This is my show, My Life is an Adventure. As you can see, I'm wearing my Arrow shirt. You can see my Arrow poster in the background, and most of Oliver Queen's abs. I'm a little late this week on comics. Got home late, had to work today, which I don't normally have to work. So I was tired and am just now getting around to recording this. So I'm doing this different. This isn't just going to be one issue per video now, because that's tiresome, and no one wants to watch that many videos. Hell, no one wants to watch any of my videos, apparently. I think the last two didn't even make the double digits, let alone go past 7 or 8. So we've got three non-DC books and 2 DC books, but we've got 4 variants, or 2 variants to each of the DC, I don't know how you want to say that. I've got the regular cover and the variant cover of the 2 DC books, and then 1 cover each for the non-DC. So we'll start with the non-DC. We'll start with what is normally my favorite non-DC book, and this time just isn't that much. It is Justin Jordan's Spread, featuring art by John Bivens, Felipe Sobrero, and Kyle Stram. I have a feeling John Bivens is the reason I don't like the book as much this week. And, I hate to say that, but I don't know, something was off with the art. I mean, it was just like someone attempting to imitate his art and not quite getting it right. John did the line art, which, and then Felipe Sobrero did the colors, and then Stram did cover A, which I believe is what I have. How do I know if I have cover A, other than... Yeah, I don't know. Usually it says up in the corner. Well, at least maybe that's just IDW that does that. But IDW does covers A through Q on one in one printing, which is annoying and why I don't read the IDW books. Okay, so we have some... I don't know. The art's the worst part. Like I said, it's someone attempting to do their version of Stram's art, and it's just not as good. So yeah, the book's been out for a couple years now, and we're only on issue 14, which makes me so sad, because it's normally such a good book. The art's probably better than the writing, but the writing's good. The story's good. It's sort of the Walking Dead sort of Independence Day, I guess, post the alien attack when the world's trying to rebuild itself, but but in this case the aliens or whatever it is are still here, and we don't even know what they are yet. We don't know if it's aliens or if it's something that's coming from deep in the earth. Could be the result of toxic waste or something. We just don't know what it is. And like I said, 14 issues in 2 years, over 2 years. It came out Last August was like its 1 year anniversary. So that alone should have been 12 issues. And it's almost August again and we're only on 14. So, yeah. Makes me sad. It really does. We get a little advancement of the plot. They show up at the Sanctuary, which, like I said, it's a little bit Walking Dead, and we've already seen that before. And guess what? It's not that Sanctuary. I mean, it's not the right word. It's not that safe. It's not a good place. The people there are plotting against our heroes. They're employing some of our heroes to do other stuff. Stuff not so good. So yeah. I'm not done with the book by any means. I'm just disappointed. Very disappointed. So yeah. It's definitely fallen off my number one book slot, which probably is replaced by another Image book, Descender. But who knows? That could just be my weird opinion. Okay, up next is Joshua Williamson's. It's Joshua, right? I'm not great with names. I call everyone at work Chief. And not in a... Yeah, okay, so yeah, story by Joshua Williamson, art by Mike Henderson, colors by Adam Gazowski, letters and book design by John J. Hill, edited by Rob Livin, and logo by Tim Daniel. Cover by Mike Henderson and Adam Gazowski. Okay, I love this book. I'm almost convinced it's supposed to be adapted into a TV series or maybe a movie. And that's not to say that is a measure of quality at all, but I really hope it is, because I can't wait to see who they cast. But with my luck, they'll cast Will Smith as Warren. Sorry. So yeah, it's a great book. Nailbiters is about serial killers in a small town, specifically why this small town has so many serial killers that come from it. I thought there was like a general opening, but I guess not. It's been a while since I've read the first issue, so like I think there's something like it's in the double digits, the number of serial killers that have all come from this one small town, and it's just it's ridiculous and of course mysterious, and so there's investigations and conspiracies and a store that revolves around selling memorabilia of actual serial killers, which is delightfully tacky. So yeah, it's just such a fun story, fun book. If I had to offer one criticism, it would be the names of the killers, and I won't get into that. But I just think they're a little bit generic. There could have been a lot. It seems like they could have been a lot better. A lot more unique, creative, whatever. So yeah. One thing I want to mention: I bought like 9 issues or so without having read a single page, just based on the premise and the idea that Brian Michael Bendis shows up in the book. I thought it meant he was co-writing or whatever for an issue, and I don't know. I was really confused, and that's what got me to notice the book. And I flipped through it a little bit, that issue, but didn't get it right away. And then called my comic shop a few days later and was like, "Hey, what issues do you have of this?" And they didn't have a lot. They had some. I had to buy the first 3 on eBay, which I didn't pay that much for. But just to find all the right covers was a bit of a hassle, because I wanted the A covers, not the B covers. But yeah, it's just such a great book. Here's the cover for this issue. Yeah. So yeah, I would... Well, since spread's fallen, I would say this is probably Image's number 2 book for me. Number 2 book you're probably not reading, because it's not called Walking Dead or Invincible. And it's not a Marvel or DC book, so it doesn't have superheroes. But yeah, really hope it's going to be a TV series. Not so much a movie, unless they do a series of movies and are definite from the start that they're going to do a series of movies, and let them get a few more issues in before they start making those movies and the TV series. Because I don't want the books. I don't want the series and or movies to get away from the books. So yeah, great book, great cover. Okay, and speaking of Walking Dead, Walking Dead number 156. Gosh, I thought we were further along than that, but still, 156 is a lot of issues. I didn't start reading it from the beginning, so I've only got I go just after the war. I think I started just after the war, which you'll find out about if you read it. This issue brings back Negan, who I always pronounced Negan in the books. I don't know why. Or when I was reading, before they actually showed him and said his name on the TV show, I'm like, no, you're saying it wrong. Quite a shocking turn. I mean, he'd been back for a couple issues, but we see some stuff. It's all about him. And the villains that are opposed to the group. And yeah. Very great shock ending. I was literally... Not literally. I was seriously cursing and screaming, what the hell. Wow. By the way, that just said, hey, ass butt. That's Castiel from Supernatural. And that's my alert tone for just about everything on my phone. Because I thought it was funny. The other day I recorded it off of YouTube. I recorded my tablets with my phone from that scene, and then set that as my, yeah. Okay, so yeah, great issue of Walking Dead. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to really review it. Only to say it's a great reading Walking Dead as a monthly book rather than just one continuous, what do they call they're not absolutes. What do they call is it an omnibus? It's not an omnibus, is it? They have another name for their huge collection of stories, but I can't think of what it is. Compendium. That's what it is. Walking Dead Compendium. I read the first however many issues in the 3 compendiums. Or maybe 2 compendiums and then some trades. But yeah, just blown away by the ending of this book and cannot wait to see the next issue. So yeah. Okay, so let's start with Green Arrow. We've got our two our two covers. The standard, which has a cover by usually it says Juan Ferreira? Ferreira? Yeah, probably Juan Ferreira. And it's a continuation of the last issue, in which Shadow and Miko, I guess was her name. I'm not familiar with the character too much. Shadow and Miko dump Oliver's body in the bay, and then are greeted by some sort of giant ship, which Shadow calls the Inferno. We get a brief glimpse of John Diggle in in Abu Dhabi. He is transporting a man named Dante. No. He's talking to a man. He's transporting a man who is apparently broke, and arguing with a man named Dante. So one wonders if he is connected to, that Dante is connected to the Inferno. Or is it too obvious that there's a connection? It's either too obvious there's a connection or too cliche for there to actually be a connection. I'm not sure which. But yeah, so we get John Diggle, who is dressed a little bit like a G.I. Joe. Not sure which gung-ho, one of the later gung-hos, or maybe not Roadblock. He doesn't look like Roadblock, but whoever he's dressed like, he doesn't look like the John Diggle from the TV series. So yeah. Back in I almost said Star City. Back in Seattle, the Black Canary is watching as the news basically rakes Oliver over the coals, talking about what a bad person he is, and worrying about him him tarnishing the name of the company and his father's name. So she's worried about that. She's worried about, looking into his disappearance, and the murder of his secretary. Oliver's tech guy, who looks less like Kevin Smith this time around. Sorry, Mr. Piercy. I talked to him on Twitter and said that I thought he looked like Smith, and he's like, no, that wasn't intentional, but that's awesome, so yeah, let's say that's what he looks like. And he looks less like it now that we see his full face. I don't really know who he does look like, but he looks less like Smith. So he's playing video games, and he gets an alert that on Amiko's missing persons beacon, and then shows up and finds Oliver. He brings Oliver back to the city, takes him to a healer woman who speaks Mandarin, and apparently either Oliver kisses her in his sleep or she's giving him mouth-to-mouth something. But yeah, so Oliver... So basically Henry, the tech guy, says he can't help him if he doesn't get paid. So Oliver goes out on his own, wearing a Sherwood shirt, which is just funny, and finds out that his apartment building is being destroyed. And that his own company funded the development, whatnot. So he goes searching for clues into this into what's going on. He's got an underground bunker in Mount Rainier, or the Rainier Wilderness, sorry. So apparently he's going to be living there. It's his own version of the Arrow Cave. It's his version of... It's this comic's version of the Arrow Cave. He says, no one's left to help him, to believe in him. No one but the Green Arrow, or Green Arrow. The next book, or the next issue is titled Enter the Ninth Circle. So the series, the first arc is definitely heavily Dante's Inferno inspired. This is a book I always meant to read and just haven't, or I guess a poem I've always meant to read and just haven't. Hopefully I will eventually. Art's good. There's a scene where it's very very dreamscape esque. Very. He's tripping on acid or whatever, on his pain pills. So it's, different than the regular art. It's the same artist, just drawn different, I think. Black Canary doesn't look terrible in this issue. We don't see her ass cheeks hanging out of her booty shorts. Her face isn't as whatever. So I definitely cannot wait for the new, for the next issue. Let's talk about the variant cover for a minute. It is by Neil Adams. I believe that's right. That looks like his signature. Or looks like what that signature says. It looks like that's what the signature says. Yeah. Neil Adams, Tom Palmer, and Alex Sinclair. Variant cover. Okay, I don't care for it too much. I know Neil Adams has some history with Arrow. Of what that history entails exactly, I'm not quite sure. I definitely prefer the regular cover to the variant on this one. But at least the variant cover doesn't have a horrible ad for Suicide Squad coming out next month. Don't want to see that shit. Okay, so we've got Justice League. Number one. Now this is the one-shot number one, not the actual number one, which would be followed by number two. This is an introduction to the team, which this time around consists of Batman, Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and the two new human Green Lantern, Earthling Green Lanterns. Let's see if I can find their names. This is fun, isn't it? Watching me flip through the page trying to find the names. Let's see. Someone named Jess. They need a roster page. There's not, is there? Damn it. I flipped through this book twice and can't find... Okay, here we go, hold on. Jessica... Weird. It doesn't mention them by... It mentions Jessica twice, but it doesn't mention his by name. So it presumes that you know who he is. And I don't. One thing I'm going to talk about... a couple things I'm going to talk about. So, you know, there's a strike for the series. Like I said, I don't know who he is. I don't read the Green Lantern's book. I don't care to read the Green Lantern's book. Not because it's a black male and a female Green Lantern, because it's not Hal Jordan, it's not Guy Gardner, it's not Kyle Rayner, and it's not John Stewart. I would read a John Stewart Green Lantern book. Probably not. I probably wouldn't read anyone but Hal Jordan or Guy Gardner, because those are my Green Lanterns. And only because Guy wears that awesome vest. I just don't care to read them. I read the relaunch years ago by Jeff Johns. I don't know. It's not Green Lantern's not a book for me. So yeah, no desire to read them. I don't read Aquaman, but I know who Arthur Curry is. I don't read Cyborg, which isn't out yet, but I know who Victor Stone is. I don't read Batman, but I know who Bruce Wayne is. Like as I said, I just don't know these guys. Don't know these characters. Don't really care to. Maybe they'll make an impact. They did refer to them at one point as the Wonder Twins, which I was like, oh really? The Wonder Twins are there? And then I realized, oh no, they're talking about the Green Lanterns, so who cares? So yeah, let's talk about Cyborg's design. Could he look more awful? I don't think so. Specifically this page right here. I don't know. And I realized just as I was doing this video, it's Brian Hitch's artwork, too, which I knew that, but I mean, he did the art for Ultimates, which never quite sat with me. And as I was flipping through the page, talking and doing my review, I was like, oh crap, this art, a lot of this is really reminiscent of the art in Ultimates, which I don't know that I hated it then, but I don't know, it just something about it bothers me here. I mean, his character, his designs aren't that different. Oh, Simon, that's his name. They do mention it once. Simon is the Green Lantern. So anyway, his character designs for the Justice League don't look all that different from his character designs from Ultimates. I mean, I'm looking at Aquaman, and he looks a lot like his version of Captain America. His version of Cyborg looks a lot like... I don't even know, but it looks just... I hate that page, that panel of Cyborg. It just looks awful to me. There was a shot of Wonder Woman here. I know I'm flipping back and forth a lot. I'm trying to find... Oh, this panel of Wonder Woman. Now, I'd have to go back and look through my books, but I mean, that looks almost exactly like one of his pages from Ultimates. And it just really bothers me that it does so. But I couldn't tell you which character it looks like. It just, I can tell. Sorry, I was checking to make sure my thing was recording. This is going to be a long video. I could tell it's a lot like his Ultimates, and it just bothers me. It really bothers me. The story's not bad. He uses this new villain that they're calling the Mercy. No. And that was someone setting off fireworks 3 days after the 4th of July. Because... it's called a Reaper. And it's there to harvest humanity. There's references to it being Starro-like. But honestly, the first thing that came to mind when I saw it, and I asked Mr. Hitch about it on Twitter, and he said it wasn't the intention, but he's not going to deny he thought about that as he was drawing, writing, creating. It reminds me of the end of Watchmen and that giant squid octopus thing that attacked New York City. And in fact, it's attacking New York City. I think it was New York City in Watchmen. But it's attacking New York City. Why are they in New York City? Why isn't it Gotham? Why isn't it Metropolis? Why isn't it Central? Why isn't it Starling? Not Starling. Starling was a TV show. Why isn't it Coast? Why isn't New York City? Why isn't it Bloodhaven? So we've got one book that's set in New York, one book that's set in Seattle, and the rest are in fictional towns. That bothers me. Get your shit together. Okay. So the variant cover, or the original cover, is by Tony Daniel, and it looks fine, perfectly fine. I wish he was doing the interior arts, to be honest. Looks, but I mean, it's a static pose shot. It's not the traditional, or it's not a in-action shot, which, so maybe it wouldn't be as good. But the But yeah, so that's the regular cover. And like I said, it looks great. Looks fine. Perfectly fine. And probably, and a lot better than some of the other covers. But let's talk about the variant cover, which is done beautifully by Joe Madrua. It says so on the cover. So it's definitely Joe Madrua, right? But if you look at the inside sheet, it says variant cover by Yannick Paquette, however you say it, and Nathan Fairbairn. So I asked several people. I asked Brian Hitch. I asked Joe Madrua. I asked 2 different comic shops. I asked my buddy who used to own a comic shop. And I actually asked Yannick Paquette. Did I already say that? I asked Yannick Paquette, and that was my what my alert was when earlier in the video it says at Saint Saucy, which is the name I go by on Twitter. It says, my Warner Bros. Cartoon alternate cover got badly credited to someone else last year. These things happen, no big deal. I'm going to disagree. It is a big deal. You're not getting credited for work you did. Someone else is, and then you're getting credited for someone else's work that they did and you didn't do. That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal to me. I don't like it. But maybe that's just me. And like I said, I love the art. It was very obviously Joe Madrua. Kind of funny that Madrua did the cover for this when he did the third run of, or third series of Ultimates, which a lot of people hated, but I didn't. That was him, right? See, now I'm crediting someone. Come on. Yeah, Joe Madrua. The cover is obviously Joe Madrua's art, although it looks a little bit like Humberto Ramos or another artist that I can't think of at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely Joe Madrua's art. It's got a signature. But for some reason, they put the wrong name in the inside book. Now, I believe Paquette is doing a variant cover for Wonder Woman next week. I could be wrong. But I've seen artwork with his name on it, Wonder Woman artwork with his name on it, and it looks like it's a variant cover. So we'll see. Maybe that's how the mistake got made, but even if it is, shame on them. You're a professional printing company. Get your shit together. I can make spelling mistakes all I want and editing mistakes all I want because I'm not getting paid. But yeah, beautiful cover by Joe Madrua. It definitely wins the covers for the week. Just slightly edging out Tony Daniel and the cover of Nailbiter, whoever that is. all the other covers that I bought are low man on the totem pole compared to those 3 covers. So that's my review. The book's okay. It's not perfect by any means. But it's a one-shot that leads into an ongoing. The art needs to step up. I really wish Hitch would step away from the art and let someone else do it. And focus on the story. For one, I don't know how you keep up doing both and do other work. But maybe he can. But I don't like it. It looks too much like Ultimates, and that's a... No, I love Ultimates. I love the book. I even loved it when it moved on from the original author and then came back. But I wanted something different for Justice League. So, yeah. And I didn't realize that Hitch was doing the art, or that he was the artist on Ultimates until halfway through the book. And I started noticing similarities. And it's weird I can love artists on one book and then hate them on another. Or at least not appreciate them as much on another. But yeah, so Green Arrow, story-wise, was the better book, but the 2 covers of Justice League edged that out, and Nailbiter was just fantastic. So was Walking Dead. Spread, hopefully it gets back to what it was. So that's my reviews, and the new videos will be called This Week in Comics. And yeah, so there we go. Have a good day, folks. I will talk to you later. Bye.